If we can find the ones that are abusing the children and creating the images, they're the first priority, because that's where we're going to find a kid that needs to be saved. That's where we're going to
Right.
find a kid that needs to be rescued. Then we go with the ones who are trading either the worst of the worst, or the ones who are trading the most amounts. You ask about the worst, probably the one of the worst ones that I ever came across personally. I was in a room, and again, it's 40, 50 people in there, and they're just trading images back and forth. And one guy popped in, and his moniker was Sick Mind, and that should have been a clue right there.
Yeah.
He
They make the job easy sometimes.
they're helpful that way. He pops up a video, and this particular video came from a series that was created by an Australian expat that was living in the Philippines, and he specialized in the most brutal thing that you could, beyond the most brutal thing that you could imagine. And fortunately, he was taken down, but they were able to rescue some of his victims. One of the victims, unfortunately, because it was so brutal, ended up passing from the severity of the injuries.
Without getting too specific, what the fuck were they doing?
The most horrific physical abuse that could be perpetrated while still engaging in sexual acts.
Good.
And this guy popped up one of the videos. It's from a particular series that unfortunately I've had to become aware of. And he got messages from the other perverts in the room going, "Whoa, dude, we don't do that stuff in here. That's crossing the line. You have offended the perverts and pedophiles in this room. And if you do this, we're going to kick you out." And some of the perverts and pedophiles even left because they didn't want to be involved in that. And
I mean, you got to have standards.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's one thing to be a pedophile, but it's another thing to be a disgusting pedophile, right?
Right. Yeah.
And this guy raised the bar to the point that he pissed off all the other perverts and pedophiles. And I went, okay, you're target number one.
Holy shit. Now, does this correlate with like sex trafficking?
Sometimes.
Okay.
In this particular case, the video that he shared was a sex trafficking situation that was occurring in the Philippines. He wasn't directly involved in it. He was just creating the demand for the supply. For the supplier.
Okay.
And so this individual ended up being located in Ohio. And that I figured out through the course of my investigation.
Holy shit.
I contacted authorities in Ohio. They went and hit his house with a search warrant. While they were interviewing him and obtaining all of the evidence from his device, he said, "Hey, not for nothing, but you might check my roommate's computer too. He's kind of into the same thing." And so they popped a second warrant, found that the roommate was into the same thing. They got a twofer.
Fucking snitch.
He was by far one of the most disturbing individuals I had ever come across.
So you thought that this guy, or I'm sorry if I'm getting it confused, the guy that was in Ohio wasn't the same dude in the Philippines, or
was not?
Okay.
The guy that was caught in the Philippines, he was the one who was sexually abusing and creating the images and videos that were being distributed. This guy just happened to be a secondary distributor that was into it and finding it and then trying to share it with other like-minded perverts. I
gotcha. Okay, clear. Ah, shit. God, I'd love to see his face when you come knocking on the door. That would be satisfying.
Yeah. We definitely had some fun entries when we hit houses from the look on people's faces. One guy actually shit himself. That was kind of fun for me because I got to laugh about it. The guy who transported him, not so much, but
oh yeah, that's the worst. Oh my God.
And the great thing is in all the time that I was doing this, I came across so many of those weird cases of people shitting themselves or just bizarre cases that that was why I wrote my book. I had people telling me all through my career, hey, this is so weird. You're going to have to write about this. This is so stupid. Nobody would believe it was nonfiction. And I went, okay.
Yeah.
And so anybody that's interested can read about. I've changed the names to protect the innocent and the guilty. But I talked about Sick Mind in particular, and the guy who shit himself, and some of the other weird, bizarre things that I did, because I thought people need to know this is what's online. This is who's talking to your kids. These kinds of people are in the same apps and on the same chat boards and playing the same video games as our kids.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what's out there, you don't know to protect your kids from it.
Okay. I think we've hit on the problem, how big it is, where it's occurring. Where do you see, where are we, what can we improve today? What are we failing at? What do you think needs to be done to start helping fix the issue?